AC/DC once said that it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. It's also a really long way if you want to be a critically and commercially successful actor. Cillian Murphy, who apparently has the most in-demand eyes in Hollywood, knows that better than almost anyone. Though he began his acting career in 1996 when he was just 20, it wouldn't be until 2023's Oppenheimer that he became a household name. Before you say it, yes, Peaky Blinders is a great show, and yes, he worked plenty and often with Christopher Nolan. However, it's long been the case, and so far still is, that a massive blockbuster film is most likely to propel you into the big time. Success comes at different times for different people. It came early and quick for Natalie Portman, but it took decades of work for Pedro Pascal. Murphy is in that second category. He got his start, as so many actors do, in school and on the stage. At that point, he entertained thoughts of becoming a musician and was apparently very good. His band was offered a 5-album deal with Acid Jazz Records, but ended up declining because of the lowball offer. His first major stage roles came when he was attending University College Cork. They set him on the path that has consumed him since, acting. By 1996, he was a professional theater actor with the Corkadorca Theater Company. His first gig was Disco Pigs, which, instead of lasting for 3 weeks as originally intended, lasted for a couple of years and took him through Europe, Canada, and Australia. Just as the press have noted his eyes, the playwright for Disco Pigs, Enda Walsh, said, quote, "There was something about him. He was incredibly enigmatic, and he would walk into a room with a real presence and you'd go, my God. It had nothing to do with those bloody eyes that everyone's always going on about all the time," end quote. Between 1996 and the early 2000s, most of his time was consumed with theater, though he did begin appearing in short and feature films like 2001's On the Edge and a movie adaptation of Disco Pigs. 2002 is when things started to change though. Murphy landed the lead role in the critically and commercially successful 28 Days Later, which turned $84 million on an $8 million budget and brought back zombies in a big bad way. You can probably thank it for every zombie-related thing that you've seen in the last 20 years. The movie started getting him some of his first awards nominations, which probably came as a surprise. No one expected the movie to do as well as it did, but hey, right place, right time. Around this time, he also started to transition more into being a film actor, though he has kept up with his theater roles as recently as 2019. In 2003, he starred alongside Colin Farrell in Intermission, which was well received and did well in his native Ireland. The same year, he also had the critically and commercially successful Girl with the Pearl Earring and Cold Mountain. But besides 28 Days Later, it's safe to say that his other most important film of the 2000s was 2005's Batman Begins. It began what is now an almost 20-year relationship with Christopher Nolan. Murphy had actually been asked to audition for Batman. The role eventually went to Christian Bale, but Nolan thoroughly enjoyed his audition and gave him the role of Scarecrow. Nolan also seemed to love Murphy's eyes, saying, quote, "He has the most extraordinary eyes, and I kept trying to invent excuses for him to take his glasses off in close-ups," end quote. The same year, he was also in Red Eye alongside Rachel McAdams, which got positive reviews and did nearly $100 million on a $26 million budget. Manolo Dargis, writing for the New York Times, again noted his eyes, saying, quote, "The actor may not remotely be believable as a man of international mystery, but those baby blues look cold enough to freeze water, and his wolfish leer suggests its own terrors," end quote. To be fair, Murphy does have a beautiful pair of eyes. His dual villainous roles in Batman Begins and Red Eye earned him more awards nominations, with David Denby, writing for the New Yorker, noting, quote, "Cillian Murphy, who has angelic looks that can turn sinister, is one of the most elegantly seductive monsters in recent movies," end quote. Though ostensibly popular with critics, Murphy still didn't have a role that would propel him into the stratosphere. He was, and is, an excellent actor, but for most of these years he was doing supporting roles in big budget films like 2010's Inception, again with Christopher Nolan, 2012's The Dark Knight Rises, yet again with Christopher Nolan, 2014's Transcendence, one of his few poorly reviewed and poorly performing films, 2015's In the Heart of the Sea, and 2017's Dunkirk, again, of course, with Christopher Nolan. He had solid successes on the indie and mid-budget side as well, in movies like The Wind That Shakes the Barley, another successful Irish production, 2007's Sunshine, 2011's In Time, which sure got flayed by critics, but I enjoyed it, 2016's Anthropoid, and Free Fire, both of which got decent reviews, and 2020's A Quiet Place Part 2. But the place most people probably saw him up until that point was on the small screen in Peaky Blinders, where he played gang leader Tommy Shelby at the end of the First World War. Murphy reprised the role for 36 episodes across almost 10 years, winning nominations and awards almost every season. The show received nearly universal acclaim, with some hailing it as one of the best shows ever made. It's fitting, then, that as Peaky Blinders wrapped up in 2022, the following year would see Murphy in his most important role to date, as J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb, in Christopher Nolan's masterwork, Oppenheimer. This was his 6th collaboration with Nolan and the first time he was the lead in one of his films. Like how Christian Bale is famous for his wild weight swings to prepare for roles, Murphy lost a lot of weight to achieve Oppenheimer's gaunt appearance, and did extensive research on the scientist in preparation. The movie deserves its own video, but suffice it to say that it was a critical and commercial hit, and ensured Murphy as a frontrunner for Best Actor at the Academy Awards. And that's about the gist of Cillian Murphy. He is one of the best actors working today. Whatever the quality of the film he's in, Murphy is sure to elicit praise for his dedication to and near-perfect execution of any role that he's given. He's proven himself to be a phenomenal actor, a streak that I'm sure will continue far into the future.